Isang mapagpalang araw po. We are the Group 7 and we're going to discuss the compensation income. And ako po si Jerome Juan, the first reporter. I am going to discuss the employer and employee relationship, elements of employer and of employee, and also the types of employee as to function. But first, let's start with the employer and employee relationship. For number one, employer refers to any person for whom an individual performs any service of whatever nature as employee of such person. Dito sa employer, kumbaga dito nakabase si employee kung ano yung mga different types of qualification ng isang employee. And si employer ang nagko-control or nagbi-briefing kay employee regarding sa expected performance ng isang employee. And meron ding mga employer na gumaganap lang sila as representative, especially dun sa mga non-resident trade or business. And employee refers to any individual who is a recipient of wage and includes or any political subdivisions, agency, or instrumentality. Theory of the term also includes an officer of a corporation. Ito yung mga binibriefing ni employer. Sila yung mga pinapasahod under companies, agency, or corporation. And for next slide, elements of employer and employee relationship under case law. Number one, selection and engagement of employees. There is a screening process for employees to hire. Dito, bawat empleyado dumadaan sa tinatawag nating screening or interview before sila ma-hire or matanggap sa trabaho. And for number two, payment of wage. The employer usually fixes and controls the payment of wage. Dito naman, kumbaga, yung before sila ma-hire or matanggap sa pinapasukan or ina-applyan nilang trabaho, dito na papasok si employer para magkaroon ng short briefing or yung tinatawag na kontrata regarding dun sa amount na sasahurin ng empleyado. And for number 3, power of dismissal. Employer has power to retrench or terminate employees when incurring heavy losses or other reasonable basis. And sa number 3, sinasabi dito, si employer may karapatan mag-terminate once na si employee na kumbaga nakagawa ng mabigat na kasalanan. For example, irresponsable at madalas umabsent si employee. May power si employer na i-terminate siya sa trabaho. And for number 4, power of control. The employer has power to control the employee on the means and methods by which the work is accomplished. Sa power of control, may karapatan si employer na mag-conduct ng or mag-utos regarding sa trabaho. Kumbaga, pwede niyang i-assign sa given position kung ano yung skills ng isang employee. And for third slide, an arrangement which do not manifest all the elements is not an employer-employee relationship but an but an independent contract for the provision of service. The following are not considered employees. 1. Consultants. And 2. Directors without management function. Number 3. Talent and artists on TV shows or radio broadcasts. And the income or fees of this individual are not compensation income, but are business or professional income. And next slide. Types of employees as to function. Managerial employees, those who are given powers or prerogative to lay down and execute managerial policies and or to hire, transfer, suspend, lay off, recall, discharge, assign or discipline employees. Dito naman sa number 1, managerial employees, ito yung mga binigyan ng power or any person na mas mataas kay employee. And for example, si manager. And number 2, supervisor employees, those who effectively recommend such managerial actions if the exercise of such authority is not merely or clerical in nature but requires the use of independent judgment. Dito naman sa supervisor, yung example nito is yung mga supervisor sila yung mga nagpo-promote or nagre-recommend bago maging manager yung isang employee. And last, rank and files employees, those who hold neither managerial nor supervisor functions. Dito nakabase kung deserving maging isang supervisor or manager si employee base sa kanilang records or yung kanyang tinatawag na yung performance. And next slide. Types of employees as to taxability. Number 1, minimum wage earners. Employees who are recipient of minimum wage, they are exempt from income tax on their compensation. Sinasabi dito, sa minimum wage earners, sila yung mga employee na tumatanggap or yung sumasahod ng minimum wage, minimum lang. And for number 2, regular employees who are subject to the regular progressive income tax. Dito naman sa regular employees, sila yung mga employee na regular na, kumbaga yung regular na sa trabaho, hindi na sila contractual. And it must be noted that the special alien classification was removed into law by virtue of a presidential veto to the train law. The special alien under the old law must be treated as regular employees. And that's the end of my part. The next reporter is Napoleon Javier.
Good day everyone. Welcome to my presentation. My name is Napoleon Javier from BSI's 3I Group 6, and I'm going to discuss the tax model and compensation income. So first, what is compensation income? So gross compensation income is gross generally includes all remuneration received under an employer-to-employer relationship. So pag sinabi natin remuneration, ito yung mga money paid for work or services. So ito yung mga binibigay sa atin or income natin from our job or from our services. So non-taxable compensation. So meron dalawang hinahati ito ng dalawang bagay. Ito ay isang mandatory deduction and exempt benefits. So ano nga ba yung mandatory deduction? Um, ito yung mga dapat nating or nakasaad sa batas na dapat bayaran, katulad ng GSIS, SSS, PhilHealth, DMF, and Union Due. Ito yung mga dapat natin bayaran dahil ito yung nasa mandatory nakalagay sa batas. So ano naman yung exempt benefits? So pag sinabing exempt benefits, ito yung mga obligation na free or free from obligation na ini-impose ng iba. So ano nga ba yung mga benefits na yun? Meron tong 4 na benefits. Isa doon ay yung benefits excluded and or exempted under the NIRC and special laws. So ano nga ba yung NIRC? Yung IRC ay yung National Internal Revenue Code or yung mga taxes ng mga professional and self-employed individuals. Yung number 2 naman, yung benefits exempt under treaty or international agreements. Ito naman yung benefits na to, yung mga sa mga international or for example yung mga ASEAN or mga ginagawa sa mga or nagbubuklod yung mga ibang bansa para pag-usapan yung mga treaty. So ito naman yung number 3, benefits necessary to the trade, business or conduct of profession of the employer. So ito naman yung patungkol naman to sa mga trade business. Ito yung mga nagko-contact ng mga business or trade ng mga employee or mga professional. And yung last one is benefits for the convenience or advantage of the employer. So ito naman yung mga sakop nito yung mga advantages and convenience para sa mga employer. So next one, so exempt benefits under the NIRC as amended and special law. So tulad ng sinabi ko, yung NIRC ay yung mga taxes ng mga professional and self-employed, katulad ng mga lawyers, doctors, or the same rate as wage earners. So number 1 is remuneration received as incidents of employment. So sabi ko kanina, yung remuneration ay yung mga money paid or mga services na binabayaran sa atin. Under neto yung exempt retirement benefits under RA 7641, including exempt benefits gratuities to government officials and employees. Ito yung mga under ng RA 7641, ito yung mga pag sinabing gratuities ay ito yung mga tip or binibigay sa atin ng mga employer or mga company. So exempt termination benefits, ito yung mga pag terminate ka na may makukuha kang benefits. Benefits from United States Veterans Administration. So ito yung mga veterans. So madaling salita, mga veterans. Social Security, retirement gratuities, pensions, and similar benefits from foreign government, agencies, and other institutions, private or public. Benefits from SSS under the SSS Act of 1954 as amended. Benefits from GSIS under the GSIS Act of 1937. So COVID-19 benefits of health workers under RA 11494 Bayanihan 2. So ito yung mga bago lang, yung COVID-19 benefits, yung under ng 11494. Ito yung mga sakop nito: special risk allowance, actual hazard duty pay, compensation paid to private and public health workers who have contracted COVID-19 duty. So ito yung mga benefits na makuha nilang benefits from Bayanihan 2. The minimis benefits, 13-month pay, the benefits not exceeding 90,000. So yung de minimis nga pala ay yung mga pag translate mo siya is lacking significance or importance. Pag sinabi mo so sa in short, parang ano siya, mga minimal things lang. So 13 benefits of minimum wage earners. So ito yung mga benefits na makuha ng mga minimum wage earners. So dako naman tayo sa mga benefits na makuha ng de minimis. Tulad nga nasabi ko, ito yung mga ang de minimis is from Latin expression meaning pertaining to minimal things. So benefits are facilities or privileges such as entertainment, medical services, or courtesy discounts on purchases that are relatively small. So sabi ko kanina, mga minimal things. So ang sakop lang nito ay mga maliliit na bagay or relatively small. Ito yung mga, however, the BIR and Department of Finance changed the rule under RR5 2001. So, no 2011, the BIR changed the rule. Ito yung mga following na benefits na binago nila. So, monetize unused vacation leave, credits of private employees not exceeding 10 days during the year. So, pag nag-exceed ng 10 days ng kaparehong taon is hindi na makikredit or monetize yung vacation leave ng isang employee. So monetize unused vacation and sick leave credits paid to government officials and employees. So dito naman hindi rin monetize yung vacation and sick leave niya sa katulad ng mga government officials and employees, katulad ng mga for example, mga nagtatrabaho sa gobyerno. Medical cash allowance to dependents for employees not exceeding 1,500 per employee per semester or 250 per month. So dito naman, hindi nag-exceed ng 1,500 per employee or per semester or 250 per month. Dapat hindi nag-dependent yung isang employee sa ganong halaga lang. So rice subsidy not exceeding 2,000 or 1 sack of 50 kg rice per month amounting to not more than 2,000. So uniform and clothing allowance not exceeding 6,000 per annum. So kailangan din ng under ng RR 11 2018. Actual medical assistance, etc. Medical allowance to cover medical and healthcare needs, annual medical executive checkup, maternity and assistance and routine consultation not exceeding 10,000 per annum. Laundry allowance not exceeding 300 per month. Employee achievement award for length of service or safety achievement, which must be in the form of tangible property other than cash or gift certificates, with an annual monetary value not exceeding 10,000 received by the employer under the establishment written plan, which does not discriminate in favor of highly paid employees. Gifts given during Christmas and major anniversary celebration not exceeding 5,000 per employees per annum. Daily meal allowance for overtime work and night or graveyard not exceeding 20% of the basic minimum wage on per region basis. So ito naman parang kailangan yung meal allowance nila per region basis. For example, Manila rate or provincial rate. Nagkakaiba siya sa mga kung city ka or nasa provincial ka. Benefits received by an employee or virtue of collective bargaining agreement CBA and productivity incentive schemes, provided that the total annual monetary value received from the both CBA and the productivity incentive scheme combined do not exceed 10,000 taxable per year. So next, so dito naman tayo sa mga taxable. So taxable de minimis benefits is excesses de minimis over the regulatory limits. So at other benefits of relatively small value that are not included in the list of the minimis benefits. So pag hindi ka nakasali sa mga list ng de minimis, hindi ka rin masasama sa mga benefits nito. So for naman treatment of taxable de minimis benefits is for rank and file employees. Taxable de minimis is treated as other compensation income other the category or 30-month pay. For managerial and supervisory employees, the taxable de minimis is treated as fringe benefit subject to final fringe benefits tax. For managerial and supervisor naman, magkaiba naman sila ng ikakatla sa kanila, magiging ititreat sila as fringe benefit. So, dito naman tayo sa kung paano i-compute or paano makikita natin kung paano natin i-compute yung mga income and mga allowances natin. So, determination of excess de minimis benefits. So, sa illustration 1, si de minimis limits si Alexandria is a private employer who is paid 600 daily rate receives the following benefits. So, during the year 2021, monetize unused vacation leave credits. So, mayroon siyang 9 days doon. Meron din 9 days din sa sick leave credits. So, medical assistance niya is 7,000. Price subsidy niya is 2,500 per month. Is for combining is 30,000. So, clothing and laundry allowance niya is 9,000 is 6,000. So, dito naman, kailangan natin required na determine the taxable amount of de minimis benefits. So, para makuha natin yung amount ng de minimis benefits is kailangan natin makuha yung actual limit and excess. So, paano nga ba yun? Yung monetize unused BL natin is 5,400. Yung ililimit natin siya sa 6,000 dahil nakalagay dun sa sabi ko nga kanina, nasa limit lang siya ng 6,000. So, yung monetize unused SL natin is 5,400. Yung excess niya is 5,400. Then, yung medical assistance niya is 7,000. Yung limit is 10,000. Price subsidy is 30,000. Ang limit ay 24,000. And excess or natira ay 6,000. Clothing allowance is 9,000. And limit natin ay 6,000. Ang excess ay 3,000. Laundry allowance is 6,000. Limit 3,600 is excess is 2,400. So, ang taxable de minimis natin as other benefits is i-total natin siya is 16,000. So, for illustration to naman, si Hazelin, a government rank and file employee, receive a following benefits. Meron siyang vacation leave credits na 10 days. Ang halaga nun ay 6,000. Meron siyang sick level credits na 15 days and 9,000 yon. Uniform allowance and laundry allowance is 5,000 and 4,800. Ang re-record natin dito is i-determine natin kung ano yung amount ng included in other benefits katulad ng ginawa natin kanina. Kaso magkaiba lang dito dahil kukunin lang natin yung VL, SL and laundry allowance. Hindi katulad dito na may rice subsidy or medical assistance. So, kukunin lang natin yung 6,000, 9,000 sa CL, SL, and yung limit nun ay naka-exempt na. Or hindi na siya free from obligation na siya. So, uniform allowance is 5,000, limit 6,000, laundry allowance is 4,800, and limit ay 3,600. So, ang excess ng nila ay 1,200, and taxable as other benefits is excess is 1,200. So, sa illustration 3 naman, si Professor Estoque was one of the Hall of Fame awardees of YouTube University. He was granted 25,000 cash loyalty award for his 30 years of service. He was also given 10,000 Christmas gift and an additional 10,000 gift during the institution's founding day anniversary. Besides, he was also given free lunch meals with a total value of 15,000 during the same year. So, keep in mind lang na i-compute natin yung taxable de minimis benefit as other benefits. So, hindi to katulad ng iba na kaninang sinabi ko na determine natin, ito i-compute naman natin. Ang i-compute natin is yung loyalty or service award niya dahil ayun yung gusto hanapin ng or ayun yung hinihingi sa atin. So, ang actual ay 25,000, ang excess ay 25,000 din. So, Christmas and anniversary gift ay 20,000, ang excess ay 15,000, ang limit ay 5,000, ang meals 15,000. So, wala naman limit sa meals, so ang excess ay 15,000. So, ang total taxable de minimis as other benefits ay 55,000. So, pag sinama-sama yan, magiging 55,000 dahil ay yung magiging magiging pag na-compute siya. So, Thank you for listening to my video and presentation. That's all. Thank you.
Ericka Mae Jinete from IS3A, and I'm gonna report the benefits exempt under treaty or international agreements. Employee benefits of non-Filipino national and or non-permanent residents of the Philippines from foreign governments, embassies or diplomatic missions, and international organization in the Philippines are exempt from income tax. So, yung United States is meron silang tinatawag na income treaties. Pero, ano lang yun, merong mga foreign countries na, yun nga, under sila ng treaties, yung mga residents, yung hindi sila not necessarily na citizen talaga ng foreign countries na yun, is meron silang eligible na nagre-reduce din ng rate para maging exempted sa tax or yung income tax. So, sa certain items na yon is yung income tax na nare-receive from sources na yon within, kunwari dito sa Pilipinas, is nire-reduce yung rates and exempt na rin sila sa kunwari sa may ibang country din na signatory din ng treaties. Kunwari yung Philippines signatory din siya sa US na yung exempted siya sa taxes. So, merong among countries na yon is yung meron silang specific items na merong income tax. And kung dun sa treaty na yon or yung under ng treaty or yung international agreements is hindi sila part nun or hindi sila cover ng particular ng income na yon, is walang treating magaganap. So, walang treaty dun sa between the country. Kunwari yung Philippines, hindi siya part dun sa treaty. Walang agreement na nangyari dun sa US. Tapos, kailangan mong magbayad syempre ng tax nila. Katulad nung same din siya and same wave and same rate siya dun sa binabayaran yon, and based din dun sa instruction kung paano mo siya babayaran. Yan. So, merong mga individuals sa ibang lugar na yung income tax is yon, some states nga dito sa provision siya ng example yung US tax treaties nila. So, yung ibang treaties naman is wala, or yung ibang states, So, yung iba naman, nagpapakonsult sila sa sa mga authority, yung mga marurunong about dun sa tax treaties na yun. Next is exemption from withholding tax does not mean income tax exemption. So, dito is foreign government, embassies, diplomatic missions, and international organizations are immune from income tax, including the obligation to withhold income tax by virtue of international committee as embodied in several international agreements to which the Philippines is signatory. However, this exemption from the obligation to withhold tax does not mean income tax exemption of their Filipino employees. In fact, most of the international agreements to which the Philippine signatory limit exemption only to non-Filipino nationals and or non-residents of the Philippines. Filipino employees or foreign government international missions and organizations are taxable as rule except only to employees of the following. So, meron ng mga agencies na exempted sila sa taxes, like United Nations, Specialized Agency of the United Nations, Australian Agency of International Development, Food Agriculture Organization, World Health Organization, United Nations Development Program, International Organization for Migration, International Seabed Authority, or ISA. So, yung withholding tax kasi, si withholding tax kasi, siya yung income tax na paid ng isang government by the employer kesa dun sa employee. So, yung mga exempted kasi din sa withholding tax is yung isang taong nakakapag-earn lang ng 250,000 a year. So, exempted sila sa withholding tax. Kaya yung income nila is only for single payer lamang. Yung tax exemption naman kasi is siya yung income or yung transaction na free from tax or sa federal, sa state or sa local. Sa like dito sa Philippines, sa lugar nila. So, yung tax na yon is for free items. Maybe yung taxpayers or yung individuals sa may business tax is pwedeng i-return or sinushow siya for international purposes only. So, yon. At yung mga organization na nabanggit ko kanina. So, next, confirmation of tax exemptions. So, the tax exemption of the Filipino employees is not automatic Filipinos claiming exemptions under the terms of the international agreements or international provisions of special laws granting privileges to international organization shall file an application for confirmation of tax exemption with the BIR's International Tax Affairs Tax Divisions. Ito, si confirmation of tax exemption. So, si confirmation of tax exemption is isa siyang merong mga yung isang organization is kung kailangan mong mag-change ng name or yung kung kailangan mong i-confirm yung tax exempt status mo or yung change ng name, address or other yung anong kailangan mong baguhin is need mo ng letter para i-confirm nila yung tax exempt status mo or yung mga kailangan mong baguhin. So, yung isang organization na yun is kailangan minsan kontakin yung customer account services dati by phone or bibigyan lang ng letter or yung sa fax. So, dito naman, ngayon, kasi kailangan mo na mag-file ng application para i-confirm nga yung tax exemption mo dun sa BIR. So next, employees of Philippine embassies or consulate offices. It should be recalled that working in Philippine embassies or Philippine consulate offices are not considered non-resident citizen and are therefore subject to Philippine income. So, yun nga. Yung embassies and yung consulate ng mga Philippines is nag-a-assist lang sila sa mga Philippine nationals in distressed fields abroad, sa mga abroad. So, nagko-provide lang sila ng support and help and yung number ng different scenarios. Like, ina-assist nila yung mga citizens kung kailangan nila ng emergency or yung i-replace yung travel documents nila or mag-give lang sila ng advice and legal support dun sa mga OFW or sa mga other foreign people. So, ayun nga. Yung mga nagtatrabaho sa Philippine embassies or Philippine consulates is hindi sila considered or sila yung mga non-residents ng citizen of the Philippines. So pag ganon, nakapag-deal sila sa income tax. Meron ako nabasa na about sa Supreme Court, in-affirm nila yung regulation and nag-issue kasi si Bureau of International Revenue or CBIR ng fringe and small value benefits na natanggap nila which is by the government workers. So, it is subject that na magbibigay sila ng or nakapag-deal sila ng withholding tax. So, gaya na ito. Sa Pilipinas, si Filipino citizen sa foreign embassy mission or organization is taxable sila. Pero pag naman nasa Philippine Embassy or Consulate Office lang is hindi siya applicable. So, kapag alien, yung alien kasi, siya yung tinatawag na, yung alien kasi sila yung mga residents or yung mga nakatira na pinanganak sa kahit saan or hindi sila residente sa isang lugar na yun. Which he or she now or lives, kung saan siya nakatira. So, si alien naman sa foreign embassy mission or organization is exempted siya. Sa Philippine Embassy rin is not applicable. Kung sa abroad naman, si Filipino citizen is exempted siya sa foreign embassy. Kasi hindi siya taga doon eh. So, meron kasing exemption yung kapag pumunta ka ng isang lugar. Yun nga yung sa treaty. Kapag ka hindi ka residente doon is exempted ka sa taxes nila. Pero kung sa Philippine Embassy or sa consulate ng office nun is taxable ka. So, pag alien ka naman ulit, exempted is exempted ka. Kahit saan exempted. So, next, benefits required by the nature of or necessary to the trade, business, or conduct of profession of the employer. Benefits or allowances furnished by the employer to the employees to enable them to appropriately execute their duties are required by their employment are exempt from income tax. This is referred to as necessity of the employer rule. Ito yung example, yung necessary traveling, transportation, representation, or entertainment expenses that are subject to the accounting or liquidation in accordance with specific requirements of substantial expenses. So, ito is yung mga ginastos ng mga employee na ang nagbayad is si employer. Kailangan niyang kasi siya para solely for the convenience of the employer. So, and must be incurred of the employer's premises if applicable. So, in this case, those expenses is not included in the employee's income. So, benefits for the convenience or advantage of the employer. So, benefits or allowances which are intended for the furtherance of the interests of the employer's business or to ensure its smooth operations or likewise exempt from income tax is referred to convenience of the employer rule. So, ito yung example niya is yung nag-work ka related dun sa mobile allowances mo and sa transportation allowances mo is particularly minsan sa call center kasi operated sila ng 24-hour basis. So, yung employees din is nagre-record sila ng available or always for assignment and consultation. So, si convenience of employer kasi, rule. Siya kasi yung general niya kasi yung means ng employer na hindi you provided ng employee yung mga necessary resources ng isang employee para mag-work. So, such as physical office or yung technology. Yung mga technology na ginagamit ng mga employer. So, nagre-record which yung worker mismo dapat yung magpo-provide nun. Or dapat may sarili siyang own office dun sa lugar niya. So, yun yung tinatawag na convenience of the employer. So, next, if the expense is unreasonably excessive, making it depart from the nature of a reasonable business expense, such as when it is deliberately granted to include the benefit for the employee, the portion of the expense representing provision or privilege to the employer is considered a taxable fringe benefit. This type of expense are regarded as hybrid expense because they are partially business expense and partially employee benefit. Si hybrid naman kasi parang both siya kung kunwari parang sa hybrid sa costing system is both din siya, parang kasali na dun yung features and yung job costing and yung processing na ginagawa dun. So parang nang nangyayari is mix siya. So like nag-combine ka ng some features or nag-cost kasi ng basis dun sa some features na yun sa isang accrual basis kasi. So, next, composition of taxable compensation. Regular compensation, this pertains to the fixed remuneration received by the employee every payroll period. So, si compensation kasi, isa siyang compensation na nare-receive ng mga receive exclusively as wages na nare-receive ng isang employee for services performed or yung trinabaho niya, yung ginawa niya about doon. So, yun nga, this course, yung employment niya is for his employer. So, wages means base salary of the base compensation ng employee. So, regular compensation kasi isa siyang portion ng salary na minsan is binibigay sa retirement contribution. Example nito is yung bonus, commission, stock, profit, sharing, gaining, and sharing. So, yung like for basic salary, yung basic salary is amount siya ng money na natatanggap ng isang employee. So, mga extra being added or may mga payments din na dinadeduct sa kanila. So, next is supplemental compensation. This pertains to other performance-based pays to employees with or without regarded to the payroll period. Si supplemental wages naman, siya yung additional payments made ng employee outside dun sa regular wages na tatanggap nila. Like, overtime, bonuses, commission, and others. So, isa din other than employees regular, so it can pay, yun nga, sa cash out, vacation, sick time, prices, retroactive pay, or yung raises. So, an adjunct category to the supplemental compensation, third month pay and other benefit is necessary to contain incentive pays and all other taxable employee benefits. Not classifiable as regular or supplemental compensation, 13-month paid and other benefits not exceeding 90,000 pesos is an exclusion from gross income. The excess above 90,000 is added to supplemental compensation. So, kapag umabot ng mas mataas, yung 90,000 mo is tinatawag na siyang supplemental compensation. Si 13th month pay kasi isa siyang additional compensation na binibigay sa employees, which is nag-equivalent siya sa 1/12 of an employee's total basic salary in a year. Yon, so yung parang minsan is, which is si incentive based naman is, siya yung payment, nagko-concession to stimulate greater output for investment. So, ito yung example niya is yung extra money offer na ino-offer ng isang owner sa employees na nag-work kasi sila ng extra hours dun sa trabaho nila. Yun lamang po. Thank you. Next reporter.
I'm Kimberly Jardin, the reporter of regular compensation income. So, the regular compensation includes fixed remunerations due to be received by an employee every period. So, may dalawang bayaran or remuneration na dapat natatanggap sa employee every period. Ito yung basic salary, which is yung buwanang sahod ng isang empleyado. Fixed allowance, ito yung mga allowances na binibigay ng company, gaya ng cost of living allowance, fixed housing allowance, transportation, etc. So, allowance which are fixed in amounts and regularly received as part of the basic monthly, bi-weekly, weekly or daily salaries are part of regular compensation. Sabi, part nga daw ng regular compensation yung mga may fixed at as part ng basic salary nila. Kung buwanan or bi-weekly, lingguhan or daily salaries. So, there is an exemption rule on the taxability of allowances. A. Ordinary and necessary allowances for traveling, representation, or entertainment expense of employees incurred in the pursuit of employer's trade, business, or profession. Ito yung naman yung mga necessary na allowances, mga kinakailangan para sa mga traveling representation na empleyado or entertainment expenses na kailangan sa process or sa negosyo ng company. The expense is subject to accounting or liquidation. So, dito, kung yung expense ay tumutukoy or subject sa accounting or liquidation. Yung liquidation is the act of turning assets into cash. Kumbaga, nila yung mga assets or merch nila to turn into a cash. Yun yung liquidation. So, C, any access advances are returned to the employer. Mga excess advances na empleyado. So, yun. Hence, variable and liquidated allowances are not subject to tax. So, yung mga variable or yung mga liquidated allowances ay hindi siya under ng tax. Pero dapat itong i-consider as compensation or yung mga kinikitang allowance na isang empleyado. Paid vacation and sick leave allowances. The paid absences of an employee applied against his vacation or sick leave credit, which are normally received as part of the regular salary, is part of the regular compensation. So, yung mga bayad na absent na empleyado na fina-file as vacation leave or sick leave, yun yung kahit na absent yung empleyado, bayad pa din at natatanggap pa din ng buo yung mga sahod nila at ito yung part ng at ito rin ay part ng regular compensation. So, non-compensation items, ito yung mga non-compensation gaya ng fees, commissions, tips, and gratuities. So, sa fees, ito yung retainer fees of consultants, talents, and directors who have no management function in the business. Kung nga daw yung mga walang management function sa isang business, sila yung may mga professional income. Kaya ng mga consultants, yung mga nakukuha nilang retainer fees, talent, director, yung mga nag-work sila as their own at binabayaran sila ng walang management. So, number 2, commissions to non-employees such as independent sales agents or business income to sales agent. Ito naman yung mga non-employees or hindi empleyado tulad ng mga ahente, sales agent, gano'n. Kunyari, sa mga ahente ng lupa, sa bawat hektare ng lupa na nagbebenta nila, sila nakukuha ang commission dun sa nabenta nila or dun sa part ng kinita. So, number 3, tips and gratuities. Tips and gratuities paid directly to an employee by customers or the employee, which are not accounted for by the employee to the employer and not considered as compensation income. So, yun. Ito yung mga, kunyari, waitress or mga waiter, may nakukuha silang tips mula sa mga customers kung satisfied sila sa service ng empleyado. So, yung mga ito ay kabilang sa other income ng income tax return ng isang empleyado dahil hindi ito galing sa employer, kundi binigay ito directly to the employee ng customer, which is not considered as employee's compensation income. Valuation of compensation paid in kind. Compensation in kind is taxable at the fair value of the consideration received. So, yung compensation in kind, taxable siya, depende sa fair value na natanggap. So, if received in shares, the fair value of the shares at the date service were provided is used. So, may illustration tayo dito. Ito yung employee who was terminated in 2021 due to business closure of the employer received by the following. So, ito yung mga list, ng mga natanggap ng employee na na-terminate noong 2021 dahil sa pagsara ng kumpanya na pinapasukan niya. So, unpaid 2021 salaries na halagang 200,000. Unpaid 2020 salaries na 20,000. Reimbursement for transportation, 20,000. Termination pay, 100,000. So, ganito siya makukuha or mako-compute. Gross compensation income, which is yung 200,000 na unpaid 2021 salaries plus yung unpaid 2020 salaries ng 2020, 20,000 plus termination pay niya na 100,000. equal to 320. Babawasan ng taxable benefits, which is 100,000. So, ang magiging taxable compensation ng empleyado na na-terminate noong 2021 ay magiging 220,000 na. So, may note dito, reimbursement for transportation expense is not an income to an employee. So, hindi income or hindi siya considered as income yung reimbursement for transportation. Kaya hindi siya included sa gross compensation na kinumpit kanina. So, number 2, the termination pay is included in gross compensation income but is also deducted as non-taxable compensation because the reason of termination is beyond the employee's control. So, yun nga, yung termination pay niya included siya sa gross compensation income or dun sa kita ng empleyado. Pero deducted siya as non-taxable compensation kasi hindi yung reason ng termination is beyond the employee's control. So, supplementary compensation. Supplementary or additional compensation includes performance-based remunerations to an employee in addition to the regular compensation with or without regard to the payroll period. Sabi, sa kasama or additional compensation ng performance-based remunerations ng empleyado bilang dagdag sa regular niyang sahod with or without regard to the payroll period. So the following are the additional compensation under current tax rules. Ito yun, mga additional compensation under current tax rules. Yan, overtime pay, emoluments, and honoraria, hazard pay. So yan. So ito na nga. Sa overtime, holiday, hazard, and night differential pay. Ito yung mga additional income ng empleyado except pa dun sa minimum wage na natatanggap niya. So sa commission, emoluments, and honoraria, commissions are incentives intended to stimulate sales. This may be given as a profit sharing or performance bonus. Sa commissions, ito yung mga incentives na nakukuha ng employee para mapasigla yung sales or benta. For example, yung mga call center agent or yung mga companies, nagbibigay sila ng mga incentives sa mga empleyado nila para mas maganahan or maengganyo yung mga empleyado na pag-ibihan yung mga benta ng produkto. So, sa emoluments and honorary, sa emoluments yung general gains or bayad ng kabuuang pinagtrabahuan na empleyado. Yung honoraria naman, yung additional lang or additional na binibigay ng mga employer as bonuses or matatawag na complementary fee ng mga company sa empleyado. Living quarters or meals. If an employee receives free living quarters or meals in addition to salary for services rendered, the value to the employee of such living quarters or meals is included in compensation income. Kung yung isang empleyado nga raw ay nakakatanggap ng free meals or living quarters as additional sa sweldo mula sa kanilang employer, yung halaga ng binibigay para sa living quarter at pagkain ay included sa compensation income. Stock option plans. To motivate employees, employers give stock options to employees, allowing them to earn additional rewards on the appreciation of the stock price of the company. Sabi dito, ito yung pagbibigay ng employer ng opportunity sa kanilang mga empleyado para magkaroon ng stock options yung empleyado or magkaroon ng shares sa paraan ng pagbili ng shares sa kumpanya para ma-motivate lalo na magtrabaho yung mga employees. So, binibigyan nila ng stock options yung employees para magkaroon ng karagdagang kita or rewards sa kumpanya. So may dalawang option ang shares of stocks. Una is the equity settled options employees to purchase shares of stocks of the employer at the predetermined exercise price fixed on grant date. Sabi, ang equity option, ito yung inaalaw na employer na bumili ng shares ang kanilang employee at the predetermined price or yung napagkasundo ang presyo sa itinakdang araw or yun, araw. Or yung napagkasundo ang presyo. So sa cash settled naman ay yung mismong entitles the employee to receive in cash the excess of the fair value of stocks over the exercise price without actually delivering stocks. So, ito yung mismo, yung cash mismo na nakukuha ng empleyado mula sa sobrang fair value ng stocks ng company. Unlike sa equity settled, yung share mismo yung nakukuha ng empleyado sa company at pwede rin nila yun na ibenta sa mga private company or public market para may kitain yung empleyado. So, may upon the exercise of the option, the excess of the book value or fair value of the stocks, whichever is higher, less the exercise price set at grant date is treated as follows. So, may dalawang identification ng paggamit ng stock sharing options. Kung alin sa mga excess value ng stock ang mataas or mas mababa sa price set, ay itinakda sa petsa ay pwedeng additional compensation income at fringe benefits. Sa additional income, ito yung mga empleyadong nasa rank file lang ng company. Habang yung fringe benefits, if the employee is managerial or supervisory employee. So yun nga, kung yung empleyado ay isang managerial or supervisory. So this rule is applied regardless of the type of the option. Pero regardless of the type of the option, nai-apply pa din yung rule. Profit sharing or taxable bonus. Profit sharing is a reward for training the business to post a profit. It is a compensation for controlling all the factors that influence profits such as marketing and sales, productivity, and administrative factors. Sabi dito, ito yung kita mismo ng company or ng business na pinapatakbo nyo. Ito yung parang reward ng pagpapalago nyo sa business. Hindi ito yung sahod na kinikita buwan-buwan. For example, ako, si Maria, si Lian, may business kami na pinatatakbo at kumikita yung business namin ng 50K a month. So, sa 50K na kinita ng negosyo, buwan-buwan, babawasan namin yon ng, kunyari, 10K yung sahod namin per month. So, 50K minus 30K, which is yung sahod namin tatlo, plus, ay minus 10K for the expenses ng business, gaya ng mga electricity, water bills, or kung ano pa man. So, sa 50K may natirang 10K, which is yun yung profit ng business namin. Ngayon, nasa amin yung decision kung paghahati-hatian namin yung kinita ng business or gagamitin pampalago sa negosyo. Usually, ang profit sharing is annually or quarterly. Hindi siya ginagawang palagian or madalasan gaya ng sweldo na buwan-buwan yun. Pero yung profit sharing, ginagawa to or yung naging profit sharing nyo ng buong isang taon, kung hati-hatiin nyo yun yung profit sharing. So, productivity incentive bonus. A productivity incentive is linked to improvement in productivity, usually in terms of cost savings through waste reduction, efficient labor utilization, or increase in volume production. Ito. So, under ng RA 10653, ang productivity incentive ay isa sa mga de minimis benefit. Dahil ito ay variable payment or bonus para sa mga empleyado para mas tumaas yung improvements in terms of volume of productivity, waste reduction, efficient labor utilization. Pero under naman ng NIRC or National Internal Revenue Code, ang productivity incentive bonus ay considered as part of other benefits under ng 13-month pay and other benefits. So, yun lang po. Thank you.
The 13-month pay of government employees consists of Christmas bonus equivalent to the month's salary plus 5,000 cash give. 13-month pay is a government-mandated form of compensation in the Philippines given to employees at the end of the year. While it may seem like a Christmas bonus, 13-month pay isn't a discretionary benefit. It's a part of employment law, so employers are obligated to pay it. RA 6686 as amended by RA 8441. No official or employee shall receive Christmas bonus for any and all sources in excess of the 1-month basic salary and cash gift as provided under Section 1 and 2 of this Act. Other fringe benefits. Other fringe benefits include all other taxable fringe benefits not especially included in compensation income as regular, supplementary, or 13-month pay. Employees' personal expenses shouldered by the employer. Fringe benefit is a special form of benefits you provide your employees in addition to their salaries and wages. It means any good service or other benefit furnished or granted in cash or in kind by an employer, corporate, or sole proprietor to individual employees. Providing the employees with such fringe benefits may be based on your company policy or based on the contract with your employees. Taxable de minimis benefits such as excess de minimis. The de minimis values benefits are relatively small value given by the employer to his or her employee to improve health, goodwill, contentment, or efficiency of his or her employees. These are not subject to income tax as well as withholding tax on compensation of both managerial and rank and the employees. Examples of de minimis benefits include provide snacks, small holiday gifts, and occasional entertainment tickets. Tax treatment of other fringe benefits for rank and files employees. Fringe benefits are defined as any good service or other benefits furnished or granted in cash or in kind by an employer to an individual employee.
I'm Dianne Guerrero from Group 7. So now I will be reporting rules of changing status as a minimum wage earner during a year. So the number one rule is when an employee becomes a minimum wage earner during the year, he shall be subject to income tax only on compensation earned before becoming a minimum wage earner. So, ito yung kapag ikaw ay naging minimum wage earner, nasa loob ng isang taon, may issuehan ka ng income tax na babayaran na nakuha mo before ka maging minimum wage earner. So, mayroon dito illustration 1. Anthony had a basic pay of 400 pesos per day when the minimum wage was 382 pesos per day. He is also receiving overtime pay and the year-end 13th month pay. On July 1, 2021, the Regional Wages and Productivity Board increased the minimum wage by 22 pesos per day to 404 pesos per day. Anthony's employer increased his salary to the minimum 404 pesos per day. So, sinasabi dito na si Anthony mabibigyan ng tax galing sa income niya from January 1 to June 30 kasi wala pa siya sa minimum wage earner. yung employer niya ay dapat regularly nagdededuct ng withholding tax on compensation sa salary niya, pero ihihinto ang withholding sa June 30. So, starting sa July 1, ang compensation niya kasama ang overtime pay and yung 13th month pay niya ay dapat exempted na. Kapag naman hindi inintindi ng employer mo ang exact amount ng income taxes mo noong January 1 to June 30 na compensation, ang dapat mong i-file ay adjustment return na magre-reflect sa compensation ni Anthony and shall pay the tax still due or claim for refund in case may excess na withholding. So, ang number 2 rule, sa 1 pa, so this rule may also apply in cases of transfer to an employee paying salary at the minimum wage and transfer to an employment to a region with higher minimum wage. So next is number 2 rule. When an employee ceases to be a minimum wage earner during the year due to increase in salary, only the income for the rest of the year is taxable. So example, ito. Number 2, kapag wala na ang sahod mo sa minimum wage earner sa isang taon kasi tinaasan na ang sweldo mo, yung natitirang taon na lang ay babawas na tax sa sweldo mo. Ito yung illustration 2. Andrea is minimum wage earner. She was promoted and was given a salary raise above the minimum wage starting August 1, 2021. So, si Andrea ay dapat exempted sa income tax from January 1 to July 31 kasi pasok siya sa minimum wage earner. Sa August 21, 2021 naman, effective ang pagbibigay sa kanya ng tax. Dapat yung employer ay magdededuct ng withholding tax sa sweldo ni Andrea na effective din sa parehas na date. So, this rule applies in cases of transfer to an employer paying salary above the minimum wage. And the next is transfer to an employment to a region with lower statutory minimum wage. Ang number 3 rule naman ay, when an employee ceases to be a minimum wage earner during the year by disqualification, earning taxable income. So, natigil sa pagiging minimum wage earner dahil sa pagkaka-disqualified ng empleyado. So, note that na yung taxable income ng employee ay hindi mag-exceed ng 250,000 pesos for the year and wala ring income tax due for the period under the tax table. So, next is treatment of cost of living allowance of minimum wage earners. Under RMC 23/2011, COLA or Cost of Living Allowance, which forms part of the new wage rates prescribed to be statutory minimum wage, should be treated as part of the minimum wage and shall not be treated as a separate or other benefit. So, ang treatment cost of living allowances, meaning na ang COLA na part ng new rate sa sahod, sabi sa batas, ay dapat ito ay part pa din ng minimum na sahod at hindi dapat ihiwalay or ilagay sa ibang benefit nito. Ang RMC 23/2011 means ito yung providing a cost of living allowance in the National Capital Region and clarifying its tax implications to minimum wage earners exempt from income tax. Next is the withholding tax on compensation. Ito yung isang paraan naman ng pag-collect ng income tax sa isang source kapag nagkasweldo ka na. Applicable ito sa lahat ng taong may mga trabaho, local man or foreigner, or di nakatira mismo sa Pilipinas. Ang mga employer, sila din ang mga withholding agent. So, next is, ito yun naman yung reproduced herein is the withholding tax table for semi-monthly compensation. May table dito na revised withholding tax table. Ito yung may daily, weekly, semi-monthly. May 6 days, may 6 weeks, and may 6 na semi-monthly din. Sa procedural computation of withholding tax on compensation naman, may 4 na procedure. So, yung una, alamin yung kabuuan ng monetary at non-monetary compensation ng empleyado for payroll period. Isa-separate ang mga benefits na hindi naman nabubuwisan, tulad ng mga mandatory contributions at mga iba pang pandagdag bayarin. Pangalawa, alamin yung mga sakop na regular na compensation ng employees para sa time ng payroll. Alamin mo muna ang pinakababayaran na buwis na sakop nito. Pangatlo naman, yung magdagdag ng additional compensation para sa mga nag-excess ng regular compensation. Ito ay yung total ng incremental tax rate for the bracket. At yung panghuli naman, yung total ng basic tax and the incremental basic tax. Meron ditong illustration 1 na weekly payroll period. Olongapo Company pays employee Marudo weekly. Marudo has a week salary of 10,000 pesos. Before 500 pesos mandatory distributions for SSS, PhilHealth, HDMF, and union dues, and 1,000 pesos ng taxable benefits. And dito, ito yung Marudo's taxable compensation na i-compute. Ganito siya i-compute. So, yung gross compensation is 10,000 pesos. Ililess yung mandatory contributions niya and then taxable benefits. So, 500 plus 1,000 equals 1,500. So, ima-minus mo ang 10,000 na gross compensation minus sa 1,500 equals 8,500 pesos na ang taxable income niya. So, si Marudo ay may 8,500 pesos weekly taxable income, qualifies under column 3 under the weekly payroll period. Itong column 3 under the weekly payroll period, ito yung nasa revised withholding tax table. So, yung sa weekly, yung third column lang. So, 7,692 nakasulat doon na compensation range. So, yan yung regular compensation income niya dito nakuha sa 8,500 na taxable income, tapos ililess sa base amount at column 3 number 3. So, ito yung nandun sa revised withholding tax table na 7,692 pesos. And yung excess niya is so 808 pesos multiply by incremental tax rate, which is 25%. So, 8,500 minus 7,692, ima-minus mo regular compensation income sa base amount at column number 3 sa weekly. So, ang magiging total niya is 576.92. So, yung 800 naman, 808, i-multiply mo siya sa 25%. So, ang magiging total niya is 202 pesos. So, kapag pinag-add mo yung 576.92 plus 202 pesos equals, ito yung total ng withholding tax ng compensation ni Marudo, 778.92 pesos. So, yung amount naman ng compensation income na i-release kay Marudo ay dapat maging, so, itong 10K gross compensation. Tapos, ililess yung mandatory contributions and non-taxable benefits ulit. So, 1,500. Taxable income niya, 8,500 ulit. Ililess sa withholding tax and compensation na kinompute kanina, which is yung 778.92. And the net payroll due kay Marudo ay 7,721.8 pesos. So, next naman, illustration 2. Company shall compute the withholding tax compensation as follows. So, ito muna. ABC Company employs Mr. Penoy with a basic monthly salary of 70,000 pesos, which is paid semi-monthly every 15th and 30th day of the month. For the second half of the month, Penoy earned total overtime pay of 12,000 pesos. So total monthly contribution for SSS, PhilHealth, HDMF, and Junior Dues were 2,400 pesos. So ito yung ABC company shall compute the withholding tax on compensation as follows. So regular compensation income 32,800. Ima-minus sa base amount at column number 4 sa semi-monthly 33,333. So magiging 5,000 na lang, 460 na lang siya. And yung excess niya is 467 and the additional supplemental compensation is 12,000. So ang total is 12,467. So i-multiply mo siya sa incremental tax rate which is 30%. So yung total withholding tax ng compensation niya is 9,156,077. Next is the year-end tax adjustment. Ito yung dapat natin tandaan na ang kabuuang amount na hindi nasama sa bawat date ng payroll ay pwedeng hindi maging eksakto sa annual tax due. Kaya kailangan mabilang yung mga sweldo ng mga employees every katapusan ng taon para maayos yung mga kailangan nila. Yung mga under withholding naman ay ibabawas sa last payroll ng employee. Yung over withholding naman ay yung ang ibabalik sa mga employees. So next is benefits not subject to withholding tax and compensation under RR 298 as amended. So yung 1, ito yung mga natanggap na pera bilang mga insidente sa trabaho. Number 2, mga natanggap na bayad sa agricultural labor, bayad sa buong product ng farm. Sa 3 naman, ito yung mga sweldo ng kasambahay. Sa 4 naman, ito yung ibang income din, yung mga bayad or sweldo sa mga casual labors. Number 5, compensation para sa mga serbisyo ng mga OFWs para sa ibang bansa. Number 6, yung mga damages na binayaran ng employer sa mga employees. So, itong 7 naman, ito yung mga may life insurance. Number 8, ito yung mga halagang natanggap ng isang issued employee as a return of yung premium. Number 9, ito yung compensation para sa injuries or kung nagkasakit ka, ganun. So 10, exempt sa income yung mga may under sa kasunduan. 11, yung 13th month pay and other benefits na hindi nag-exceed sa total na 90,000 pesos. Number 12 naman, ito yung mga may GSIS, SSS, PhilHealth, and other contributions niya. So sa 13, compensation income including overtime pay, holiday pay, night shift, or differential pay and hazard pay of minimum wage earners. Tapos sa 14 naman, ito yung mga compensation ng employees sa mga public sector kung hindi lalampas sa minimum wage earners sa non-agricultural sector. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Christine Mae Gonzales from BSIS3A and this is my part for this group report. Deadline of filing and remittance of withholding tax on compensation. Employers or business owners ay kailangan mag-file sa BIR with BIR Form 1601-C na for monthly remittance return or of income taxes withheld on compensation. On or before pang 10 days ng susunod na buwan na yung withholding ay nagawa. Doon naman sa mga taxes for December, dapat on or before January 15 or next year siya ma-file or mabayaran. Kailangan din nila mag-file ng BIR Form 1604-CF or Annual Information Return of Income Taxes withheld on compensation and final withholding taxes on or before last day of January 31 sa susunod na calendar year, kung saan yung compensation income payments at passive income payments ay nagawa. Dapat din yung employer magbigay ng copy sa mga empleyado nila na taxpayer ng BIR Form 2316 or certificate of compensation payment or income tax withheld on or before January 31 ng succeeding year. Penalties for non-compliance. Same lang din siya nung nandun sa Chapter 4. Like yung sa surcharge, interest, compromise, penalty, at yung iba pa. Treatment of withholding tax on compensation. Kapag daw yung empleyado may ibang pinagkakakitaan or way of income na pasok for regular income tax, like business or profession or kahit ano pa, need niya mag-file ng consolidated income tax return for the entire taxable year. Kasi yung withholding tax for compensation, credited siya against sa total tax due sa consolidated income tax return. So next, substituted filing of tax return. The employer must file the income tax returns of the employee. Kung yung total naman is can be held by the employer, di naman na need ng employee mag-file ng annual income tax. Yan lang po. Thank you and have a great day, everyone.